Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be using only this synthesizer here to create sounds and create a kit for the Digitakt here by Elektron. So I'm going to be making percussion sounds, bass sounds, lead sounds, sampling them into the machine, and then we're going to make some beats at the end. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to make is a kick drum. So this is my default sound. I'm going to lower the cutoff frequency all the way, turn off my oscillator, and bring up the resonance until it self-oscillates. So now we have a sine wave coming from the filter here. I have some ADSR contribution. I'm going to change my shape to be a sort of plucky sound. And here we have the basis of a kick drum. I'm just going to tweak it a little bit. All right, good enough. Let's sample. All right, next up, let's make a snare drum. So I'm going to keep similar ADSR shape, bring up some white noise. And then I'm going to bring up a little bit of a VCO here to simulate the drum head at the top, and the noise is simulating the snare. I'm also going to add some envelope contribution to the oscillator here. So you can hear that there. I'm going to dial it down. Bring up the frequency. Alright, that sounds pretty good. Let's record it. Alright, next up I'm going to add a hi-hat. So again, I'm going to leave my filter open, leave my white noise. I'm going to remove the VCO, tweak my ADSR to be very snappy. That sounds pretty good. Let's record that. Next up, I'm going to record some toms. So I'm going to bring back my VCO here and bring back the ADSR modulation of the pitch. All right, good enough. All right, next up, I'm going to be synthesizing a bell sound. So normally for a bell sound, you want FM, which is frequency modulation. So you normally need two oscillators, one to modulate the frequency of the other. In this case, we only have one oscillator, but the filter can turn into a sine wave when you self-oscillate like we saw before. So if I bring down my cutoff frequency and bring the resonance all the way up, basically we get another sine wave. And so what I can do now is grab the frequency or grab the output of the VCO here, feed it into the external modulation of the filter and increase that, which means that this oscillator will be modulating this oscillator, giving us FM. And I want to shape this envelope sort of like a bell. All right, that sounds close enough. Let's record that. All right, so we're done with percussion. Now I'm going to move into more of the melodic sound. So I'm going to make a bass, a lead, and sort of a pad sound. So let's start off with the bass. Let me quickly tune it up. All right, good enough. Going to bring in my sawtooth. Create a nice little plucky-ish sound. All right, good enough. We're not going for anything fancy, just a standard bass sound. Let's sample that. All right, let's create a lead sound. It's going to be very similar. I'm just going to bring up the frequency up an octave here. So let's retune it. Let's use a triangle for this. Why not? Maybe a little vibrato here. So I'm going to add LFO to the frequency. Again, I'm going to sample the note C. And now we're down to the last slot number 8. So I'm just going to create sort of a pad sound here to balance things out. I'm going to pick a triangle wave. Increase the cutoff the high pass filter cutoff frequency. All right, that sounds pretty good. So we're going to sample that note. All right, so we're here at the Digitakt. I have all the sounds loaded. So let's quickly tweak each sound and then we'll make a little beat. So this is my kick drum, so I can tune it here. Snare, maybe a little bit reduction. Let's see if we can tune it. And a little bit of reverb as well. Hi-hat, same thing, a little bit of overdrive, just to accent it a little more. Again, a dash of reverb, maybe a little bit of delay as well. If I edit that delay now. Alright, that's pretty good. This is our tom here. Maybe we can... I'm just going to apply a high-pass filter. Basically going to sprinkle some reverb on every sound except the kick drum. Give it a little more ambience. This is our bell sound. A little bit of overdrive. Again, some reverb. And I can go in and edit the actual reverb sound. This is our bass sound. I actually like this as is. Maybe a little bit of overdrive. Dash of reverb, not too much on the bass. Let's just program some basic patterns here. Lower the volume of that. Hi-hats. Actually, I'm going to tune this up a little bit. We're going to see how that sits with the kick later. Let's add the bell sound. And finally our bass sound. And we already hear when I added the bass sound, everything started to sound a little out of tune. For example, this tom is sort of clashing. I'm also gonna maybe tweak the envelope of the tom so it doesn't resonate as much. And finally our pad sound. And now that we have that basic groove, we can start tweaking some of the parameter locks, which is where this machine starts to shine. All right, so hopefully that gives you a good idea of what this little box can do if you just use one sound source. In this case, I just used Model 101 synth to create a bunch of drum sounds and bass sounds, lead sounds. As you can hear now here. This basically sounds nothing like the Model 101 we inserted at the beginning. So it's kind of a cool exercise, and I would recommend you guys try this as well, is pick one instrument or one sound source or one object and try to extract as much variety and sound out of it with a cool little sampler like the Digitakt here. So hope you guys like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.